Alright, so in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the motivation behind Flutter and Dart. Okay, why do we even bother to learn Dart and the Flutter framework for cross-platform development? The why. So let's look at the motivation here. So traditionally what happens is if we wanted to build Android applications and also iOS applications, there's few things that we need to know. So for Android, obviously we need to know Java. Most recently, if we want to, we can also learn Kotlin. Okay, those are two languages that are used to build Android applications. Now for iOS, previously we had to know Objective-C, but nowadays, because things are evolving to the right direction, all you need to learn is Swift. This is wonderful, right? So this is what we call the native development. Now, the problem with that is that now we have two code bases, right? Because again, we want to build Android app, we have to know Java or Kotlin. For iOS, most recently, you have to know Swift. This means we now have two code bases, right? One for Java, the other one for Swift. Now you can see that this approach, although is legitimate, in fact, that's what a lot of agencies do, it wasn't really good for the developer because the developer, if there was one developer, he or she will have to learn Java and learn the Android framework, and then learn Objective-C or Swift and learn all that there is to know about developing for iOS platform, right? Not impossible, but I will tell you that it takes a lot of time, if not years, for you to really be good at both of them. And on top of that, if you're working for a client or for an agency, usually clients want things right now. This is very stressful for any developer who has been in this position. And believe me when I say I have been in this position and it's no fun. So very smart people realized of this problem. They decided to create frameworks. Most of those frameworks were built on top of JavaScript. So they're called JavaScript frameworks. Most popular frameworks that you may have heard. So there's Titanium or Accelerator, which I have used in previous years. There's PhoneGap and so many others. So the idea here of these Java frameworks is very simple. So they have the Java framework at the top. And what they do is they have a bridge, usually a web view, to render all of the widgets or all of the user interface of the platform, iOS or Android. And then there's also a way in which they can tap into the native SDK libraries for each particular type, iOS or Android. So all of this is being done in that order, okay? Of course, these frameworks then, what they do is they're able to spit out, quote unquote, from one code base application that will run on Android and also on iOS devices. So this is a reason for celebration and it's wonderful. However, there's still some major issues. One of the issues that here you can see is that, first of all, if you go from top to bottom, that's just a lot of layers to get to the actual application to be able to show and take advantage of the native frameworks, right? So there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of bridge, and you can see that these transactions between the JavaScript framework at the top and down to the native SDK and the bridge and trying to render, it's very, very costly. It's very expensive, okay? So they decided, okay, let's go and find another solution. So now we have this, what we call Reactive View. So essentially we still have those frameworks, JavaScript frameworks. And one of the most popular one is called the Reactive JS, okay? So it's the same thing. Now the bridge is a little bit different. It's more optimized so that the rendering that happens is actually taken from the SDK to the application. Meaning all of the rendering, all of the widgets now are at the application, or in this case at the JavaScript top level. So we don't need that web view anymore. In this case now we can see it's a good improvement, right? Because now there's still a bridge in between to get to actually to have our application run on iOS and Android. So it's really good, and a lot of companies use reactive views or reactive development to create hybrid, as they call them, or cross-platform applications that would run on Android and on iOS. Again, it's a great solution. or great alternative, but still we have that bridge, which is still costly. It's better than the previous solution that we just shown, but this is still not really close to the metal, as they call it, meaning it's not close to the native code. Now, a better solution, I would say, and the reason why I say it's a better solution and not the solution is because even the solution that I'm going to show you right now, which you may know the solution, what it is the solution, right? Which has to be Flutter. Tools are still evolving. So still the best way to build the most efficient application is to go native. There's no doubt about it, right? Because we get rid of all of those bridges, layers in between, all the moving parts in between, right? Because now we are doing it natively. But this is better than all those two solutions that we just saw previously, which is, look at that, Flutter plus Dart. Flutter is the framework, okay, just like those JavaScript frameworks that we talked about, that uses, in this case, a language called Dart, which was created by Google a few years ago. And the beauty of Dart, by the way, is that Dart is not just a language that is used to create hybrid applications. It's used for server-side coding, it's used for web development, and so many other uses. So that's the beauty there. The idea now here is a little bit different because the bridge is gone. We don't need that bridge. So we go straight to native SDK libraries. And then we have, from the same code base, we have application that will run on Android and on iOS devices. So this is why this is a better solution. So no more bridge, which is replaced with the compiled code into native code for multiple platforms. What this means is the following. Dart is a compiled code. The reason why we don't need the bridge, because everything is compiled right on time before it's deployed onto the devices. Previously, with all those JavaScript framework, there was no compilation. No code was compiled before it was actually set to be an application, if that makes any sense. By being able to have a compiled code, now we're able to get rid of the whole bridge. We are closer, if you will, to the native SDK libraries, which is exactly what we want. There's still a little bridge there because the compilation we still have to figure out a way to get to the native SDK, but it's faster and straightforward as opposed to the previous solutions. So this, so far, is the best way to get this job done. Okay? So that's gone. And there we go. Flutter, like React Native and other frameworks, JavaScript frameworks, also provides reactive style views. What that means is that Flutter takes a different approach to avoid performance problems caused by the need for a JavaScript bridge by using compiled programming language. Even better news, Flutter uses widgets. So widgets are just these user interface elements, such as you can see here. We have image, button, hello, world text, and so many other items or other views that we can put on the screen so that users can interact with. Okay, so that's an image, for instance, a button, hello, world text, and so forth. So as you know, all platforms, iOS and Android, they have widgets, right? So anything that users can interact with on the screen. So Flutter has a new architecture that includes widgets that look and feel good. Most importantly, they are fast and are customizable and very extensible. So in this case, Flutter doesn't use the web views as we discussed before. So it has straight native widgets that are connected directly to the SDK or to the native platform or code. That is the beauty there. So no more the middleman, if you will. Now this is huge because now all the widgets and the renderer, which renders all of the information or user interface, are taken from the platform level, from the SDK level, into the app level, which allows them to be customizable and extensible. So all that Flutter requires of the platform is Canvas, which is the view in which we can write into, or in which we can render the widgets so that they can appear on the device. And on top of that, all the access to the events like touches, timers, or services, location, camera, etc., everything is already included. So that's the beauty here. So the power here is that we no longer need a web view to render anything. because all the rendering of the widgets or the user interfaces are now directed in the application itself. So we can now customize those views because we have them, right? That's the beauty of Flutter. Through those views, we're able to then access all of the platform specific functions or features from the SDK. Okay? So my friends, that is the power that we are given here by using Flutter. And of course, you will see that as we start digging into Flutter and Dart in the next videos. Okay? In fact, the Flutter part of things is going to be later after we've learned about the Dart language, which is the language, programming language used in the Flutter framework to build Android and iOS applications. Okay? Perfect.